Hey guys, I'm back and I've got my glasses on this time. I was actually pretty blind in that last video. In this video, I'm going to take you through the project setup, the tech stack, and we're going to also just go into a bit more detail what we're building. To start, I did a bit of a naming exercise. I mean, you can't create the repo without the name, right? So that's always the biggest problem. And basically, I used something called Namelicks, which I like to use with every new project, and there are many. You just enter a few keywords and it generates a list of names that you can choose, and that even checks like if the domain is available, which is super handy. We've got a list of names here, and basically ChatGPT said that what the pics say is the one that's going to attract the broadest audience. So we're just trusting that what the pics say, it is. So let it henceforth be known. And yeah, so okay, let's have a look at what we're building. Basically, it is a puzzle game like Wordle, but images, sort of. So in terms of the project requirements, what are we going to need? Let's just stop that again. So we're going to need a app for the puzzle game itself. We are going to what do we do there? Okay, cool, that's cool. App for the puzzle game itself, we're gonna need a database. Puzzle game. We need a database to store the puzzles and the user's results and the solutions. A few other bits and bobs. We'll need authentication to sort of interact with the database, because you don't really want randos just using it. Only people like within our app should have access to it. And then we probably don't want to return the puzzle solutions directly to the the client or the app itself. We want to kind of have something in the back end that we can validate the puzzle with, so it can check in the database, does the solution match what the user has inputted, and then we can return a result. That way we still make it fun for everyone, and you can't hack it by looking in the dev tools or whatever. So we'll need edge functions for that, which is basically just a backend endpoint. We are going to need some storage for the actual images. And then we're gonna need to be able to set these the games up. So we'll need some sort of admin tool to sort of in advance upload games and images and solutions, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, in terms of the requirements, I think that's pretty much everything. So we can move on to the tech stack, and then in terms of the puzzle game app, there are two options, right? There are a few options, but the major options we'll probably consider are mobile and web app. So mobile, I found at the beginning of these projects, when there are things that you ideas that you're just testing out, prototyping, mobile can be incredibly painful because distribution is a mission. You have to go through app store reviews. So if you just wanting to release a fix, it could take days, up to a week even. It's happened before, for that to get out. And then not to mention the commissions that the App Store and Play Store take. Apple was 30%, which is crazy. And so for those reasons mainly, I'm gonna stick to a web app, because it's just gonna give us full control. It's gonna give us that development speed over mobile app development. It's gonna give us instant deployments, and no one is stealing our hard-earned money. And in terms of the tech stack within that web app, I'm a big fan of just vanilla React. The other alternative is also a lot of people use Next.js, but to be honest, I'm not a huge fan. To me, it seems a bit slower than a React app because of all the server-side rendering. There are just so many abstractions in Next.js, and it can make maintaining and staying with it quite difficult, if that makes sense. And we don't really need server-side rendering anyway. It's just a little dynamic app. You know, we'll be fine without the server-side stuff. So that's cool. No Next.js, cool. And then for the backend, we should have probably done that. The backend will probably go, you know, like I'm a big fan also of Firebase, and you know, Firebase really gives me an entire backend team with like for next to nothing, you know, and setup is pretty easy. I can stay in my little JS ecosystem and, you know, use like a NoSQL database with Firestore, which I find is very flexible. I've used Superbase in the past. It was pretty cool. It's a great product, I think, and a great tool. But I felt like I was having to leave the JS ecosystem with, you know, having to use Postgres SQL databases, which was like, okay, but not ideal, you know. And I also found like the Dino Edge functions, they're a bit loose, and I feel like a bit of a step backwards. So, you know, I quickly pivoted back to Firebase after I tried Superbase, and yeah, just been loving it. So we're gonna stick to that. We got Firebase for the backend, which will give us a database, in Firestore, which is just a NoSQL database made up of like collections and documents, which are just fancy names for groups. And we all use it for authentication. Like in terms of auth, I don't want to add anything that like blocks our users flow. We don't need to make them sign up or anything, so we might just do anonymous authentication. And then edge functions, pretty straightforward. We'll just have a validation function there. For storage, that, you know, comes with Firebase. So I think in terms of our tech stack, that's pretty good, just in a nutshell. And then our admin app can just be, you know, a clone of the app with, you know, in React and Firebase. And yeah, cool. So basically I've already created the project. I've kind of used my own little trusty steed ultimate boilerplate that I put together about a year ago and just been maintaining since, because, you know, over the years building all these projects, like you sort of write the same mountain of code at the beginning of every project, and it's like all these things you don't think about but that you need in the end, and they just take up so much time. Like, you know, of course the app itself, you're looking at like UI components for your you're looking at a backend with authentication, database, storage, all those things above, endpoints, functions, emails, like to manage your authentication state. Like that is such a pain. And a website, like just a nice landing page that ships with every project, you know. Local staging and production environments, super handy. Like, you know, when I push a commit to develop, I want to deploy to staging, and when I push a merge a pull request into master or main, I want to deploy to production. And also I don't want to use my remote environments locally. You know, I want to use something local that's, you know, fast to develop with. And, you know, theming, something like being able to change the app colors and icons, you know, all those little assets and stuff, subscriptions with Strup, writing that same code every time, linting, testing, analytics, error logging with Sentry, like, you know, the list goes on. And before you know it, you are 8 weeks into development, and you haven't even started with the core of your app. So, you know, can I get an amen if you've gone through that? Thank you. Because I've gone through it many times anyway. I've built this boilerplate and now I use it for everything. So of course it's using React and Firebase, and I set it up, I think it was 2 nights ago. I even tired myself because I like showing this off, like how quickly I can take, you know, something that takes like weeks and weeks of development and set it up in an hour. So I timed myself in Timula, my little other trusty time tracking companion. Yeah, it was late at night. The kids went to sleep. I wasn't ready yet. And I actually really enjoy coding in the dark. Like it's nice and quiet and dark, just like my soul. Jokes. Yeah, so an hour and 20 minutes. That's not bad, hey? And so basically, what I've done so far is took my boilerplate, set it up for this project. You can see it's a monorepo made up of a few things. I've got an app which is for the puzzle game itself, and I can just open the package.json to give you a brief overview. We got some dev scripts for the various environments. We've got linting, testing, build, and then in terms of dependencies, we've got React in there. We've got Firebase. We've got Tanstack React Query, which is great for managing API requests. It really is amazing. And yeah, Sentry for error logging. We want to see like what errors our users are running into, because they do happen. As amazing as developers we are, Mixpanel for analytics. Jatai, which is like it's almost like a React context wrapper, but it mimics use states. So it's amazing. It's so simple to use, and between this and React Query, it beats Redux hand down. I do not miss the days of Redux. It was great when it came out, but my word, it's boilerplate for days. Yeah, what else do we have in here? We got Tailwind for the styling. We got Daisy UI for components and theming. We've got so that's about it for the app. We've got a shared components library with a storybook, just to develop our UI in isolation if we wanted to. Bunch of other things like some global config for the app, themes, emails, links, just stuff that we share. And then of course, a few other things like ESLint config that we share, Tailwind config, styles, TS. Boring stuff that you don't need to care about right now. And then our functions live here too. So like Firebase functions, and of course our Firebase config is at the bottom. We've got some rules for the database. We've got all sorts of cool things. Yeah, so that's the app. I mean, like I've obviously had to remove a lot of things that didn't apply. For instance, I removed like all the subscription stuff. We won't like make anyone pay for this. Remove the emails because we don't have auth. All the auth functions are gone. I've removed the website because our app is essentially going to be our website. But yeah, there's obviously quite a lot in the boilerplate, and all very necessary. But yeah, this is our base. So we've got a good base going forward. In the future, I will share a link to my boilerplate if anyone's interested. So just keep an eye on that. I'll post in the description at some point. And that's it for the setup. Like, in the next video, we'll finally start coding. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So hope to see you there. Adios, amigos.